You know, I swear out of all the videos I have made thus far about BlazBlue and Arxis games and whatnot, I have hardly ever talked about the actual gameplay of these games. And I feel like I should at least explain why. I don't know why. I just don't feel comfortable talking about the gameplay of actually these Arxis games. I'm not very good at fighting games. Like, I was never ever good, but I enjoy playing them, you know? And I feel like there's more for me to say about the story side of Blaze War, expanded media or whatever, than the actual fighting game aspect. Mostly because, like, you got combo videos out there. You get people talk about the story, the mechanic. I mean, not story, my bad. You got people that talk about the combos, mechanics, just random, shit about the actual fighting part. No one should ever come to me for that. Honestly, I am not the person to come to for the actual fighting game aspects of BlazBlue because I'm not very good at the game, and even so, I can only explain the mechanics from a very base level. Oh man, you want to learn Exceed Excel? Okay, well, you can sacrifice your burst to use a burst, or you can use it to activate your Exceed Excel, which makes you stronger and gives you this move called, you know what I mean, like, shit like that. Like, it's super simple, and I even explain all of it, but yeah, I just couldn't do it. Like, I actually get requests from people who asked me that same question. People like, oh, well, why don't you explain the fighting game parts? Why don't you make a video about fighting game parts of BlazBlue? And I was stumped to come up with an answer for that. And I feel like it'd be very boring for me to talk about it, honestly. Like, I am convinced that my viewers are already bored of what I gotta say. And BlazBlue is a beast to tackle, right? Like, not only get the story to tackle, you gotta talk about the fighting game itself. And it's because no one really talked about the story of BlazBlue. This is why I made these BlazBlue rambling videos. And like, everyone else was like, out there talking about, oh, who characters you want to play? Oh, this character does this character does this. Frame data and the like, mechanics and the like. Just stuff like that. And I'm sitting here like, well, I'm interested in learning these things. I learn some stuff, learn some combos from some characters, but it just didn't feel right. I feel like if I tried to make a video about that, first of all, I wouldn't be able to give any good enough information how to do a combo. Hell, I can't even remember number pad notations half the time. Like, that shit just flies over my head when I think about it. Like, I know number pad notations, but like, I just don't think about them enough. Like, if I want to like learn a combo, I just like learn them from like the actual like pad I'm holding and be like, oh, I know this is like quarter circle forward. I can remember that easier than remembering numbers. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's just so weird. I could never do it. Never ever explain, how does a character work? How does a character do this? How does they do that? How they work against, how they match up with this character, or how high on the tier list they could be, or whatever. Or what do you think of this character in battle? I could never explain that because, like, I feel like I'd be running around in circles trying to explain it. Like, if someone ever asked me, why do you like playing Ragda? I would say he's very easy to use for me. I like that he can heal himself. He has a good, he has everything that ever won that character. Projectile. He's a sword user. He has a good good enough range. Yeah, stuff like that. And I like the character anyway. And that's probably what I can explain. I can never explain why his moves, why do I like his moves? What do they do? Why do you like his moves? Or like, why do you like matching the character up to this character, or etc. etc. Could never do that. And when looking at BlazBlue as a bigger whole, there's like this weird divide to where you get the people who care about the story in the fighting game aspect, but you get mostly the people who care about the fighting game stuff. Like, BlazBlue is a fighting game. Fighting games already have niche, a niche scene, right? They're getting bigger in the past few years, but they have a niche scene. BlazBlue is an anime fighting game, which is more niche than your average fighting game. Like, for example, Street Fighter or Tekken or something like that. Like, they're big fighting games, but they're relatively niche. And BlazBlue as an anime fighting game, it will be niche. It's even more niche. And then BlazBlue Story, the people who actually give a damn about the story, is even smaller. Like, people in BlazBlue's fandom either don't care about the story and play the fighting game aspect, or they do both. I don't see anyone BlazBlue fan who just only cares about the story, because like that'd be weird. I mean, hell, I wouldn't be as half as invested in BlazBlue if not for the fighting game aspect. It's a solid ass fighting game, and I wish more people would play it. But anyway, yeah, I have to look at the series as a whole package on its own, right? And I just could never like get down. Why do I like the fighting game aspect? Why do I like it? I just like that it feels fun to play as. I like the way the sprites, the music is great. It's just shit like that. The game looks appealing to play. I like all the character designs, and the music's great. I like the English dub. Shit like that. It's like I can talk more about why I like BlazBlue from like a more abstract way of looking at it, rather than just like a more deeper meaning. Like, because it's easier to talk about the story. It's something I know somewhat decently. It's something I know a lot more than I could ever say about the fighting game aspects. Everything around BlazBlue I could talk about. I could talk about history of BlazBlue. I could talk about, when did I play this game? Or I could talk about my first experience playing this game. Or I could talk about why do I like these characters. Or I could talk about what are my favorite musics or my least favorite musics. Or what I can talk about, what my favorite moments in the story mode were. But if someone ever asked me, oh man, what's this coolest match you ever had? I could never have one. It's not that I don't play BlazBlue Online. I do play it quite often. I just don't do it as much because I'm not very good at BlazBlue. I'm not good at the actual game. I play it a lot. I do play BlazBlue a lot. I screw around with train mode, labbing and shit, trying to learn challenges and whatnot. I just like to do stuff. But trying to talk about the actual gameplay is like something I can never do, because I feel like whatever I can say, people have said all over. As I said before, BlazBlue's fighting game aspect is what people mostly care about. It's a fighting game. Like even if BlazBlue had the best written story that captured the hearts of millions, the fighting game parts will always supersede that, and there's no escaping that fact. Like, there's no way escaping it. Like, the BlazBlue could have the best story known to man and carved in the etches of humanity forever. But this gameplay will always be above that, because I feel like with these games, the story is secondary. Even BlazBlue's massive story is still secondary to its gameplay, which is what people think. Of course they probably wouldn't even touch the story mode because it's just not worth their time. And you know what? I'm not trying to say if everyone should read the story mode or watch the story mode. I'm not telling everybody should do that. Because honestly, you have to have like a certain taste in order to get into BlazBlue story mode, and it's not for everyone. I will tell you that. I mean, you have to have the patience to sit through a visual novel. You have to have the patience to like an English dub, when even so, there's a bunch of people who don't like the English dubs. And you have to have the patience to deal with the actual story itself across the span of 4 games. And even more so, I mean, if you kind of want to count cross tag as the 5th game, I'm not counting cross tag, but regarding mainline BlazBlue, yeah, you have to go through 4 games, you have to sit through all that, and you have to be invested to go that far, And I'm not saying that like everyone should do it. I mean, people, if they want to do it, go ahead. I'm not saying that you have to play through the story of BlazBlue. I'm not saying that at all. If you enjoy the game in any fashion, I'm happy with that. Because more people who play BlazBlue is a good thing. I like BlazBlue. I like this series. I'm glad more people are playing it because it's a damn good fighting game. And it's because it's a damn good fighting game that I can never say anything about it. It's a game that I just love, but I can never explain why I like the actual gameplay of it. It just all I can really say, it feels good to play. It's a fun game. And even with all these characters that play differently from one another, the majority of the characters play differently from one another, and I can never play most of them worth a damn. It's fun learning the game and fun playing it with people, and it's fun learning things about a character you didn't even know of, and not even counting the whole package as a whole. like BlazBlue itself is a game, a series of games that have like a lot of content. They're big games, you know. Even a game simple as Calamity Trigger did have a good meaning to it. You know, how your gallery, you get your score tag, get your arcade mode, get your actual full big ass story mode, teaching you this lychee, your gag reel. Well, the couple of gag reels there were back then, but it was a big game, you know. And each game only grew bigger. You know, like freaking games like Continuum Shift Extend and Chronophantasma Extend are freaking monsters of video games. A bunch of story modes, a lot of single player content, packaged with a good fighting game. You know, it is Essential Fiction, while it does not have the dub, and I will talk about that for the rest of my life. I hate that. It's not a bad package. You know, you get all the music that from the previous games, not all of it, but most of the music from previous games. Every stage from the previous games. 36 characters. 3 acts for nearly every character, plus one act for like DLC characters and whatnot. A massive story mode. All the I said all music, my bad. A good ton of good colors, and you know, a wealth of modes, including Grim of Abyss, where Abyss modes are perfect. It's just a giant ass gallery. These games are ginormous, you know. And I think I would respect BlazBlue for just, even if I can't say anything about the actual gameplay of BlazBlue, I will always have something to say about what they brought to the table. You know, I will always be able to say, man, these games are full of content. You have a lot to do outside of playing online in these games. You can unlock a bunch of cool pictures in the gallery. You can unlock some colors. You can, you know, screw around with the characters and learn. Like, even outside of that, they just have so much shit to them. BBTAG notwithstanding, because BBTAG doesn't really have any content, like single player content. It kind of like just it was a rush job. But I'm not even talking about BBTAG. But the point is, line BlazBlue games are freaking massive. They got a lot of shit in them. You know, so much so that I could say more about that than the actual gameplay. You know, it's just like I can tell people that, man, you know, you remember back then the day where like fighting games had all these wacky modes and shit that, you know, you remember fondly. BlazBlue was just like that, you know. Not just BlazBlue, Guilty Gear, Under Night, like games like Arcsis make. Arcsis usually does make games with a good amount of modes in them. Well, at least back then. At least before CF. But, yeah. I think that's the end of that video. I don't know what else I can say other than I love BlazBlue. And even if I can't really say much about the actual gameplay part of BlazBlue, there's always something to talk about. The game never gets boring for me, because there's more to talk about outside just the gameplay. There's, you know, there's more to it. BlazBlue is a bigger experience than just the fighting game parts. And at least for me, you know, if people, as I said before, people enjoy the fighting game parts, that's great. That's good. It's the gameplay of the game. It's the point to enjoy it as a fighting game, you know. But I see as a bonus if someone also enjoys the story, or, you know, some of the character designs or the music or whatever, like whatever have you. And all I want to do is say is just, I can't talk about this gameplay of it. Honestly, I can never do it. The game is great. BlazBlue games are great gameplay wise. I just can't say anything about them because I'm not good at explaining myself. So, without further ado, I'm out, guys. I'll see you all next time. Peace out. It's late making this video, so I gotta get to bed. So, goodbye, everyone.